Are you suffering from acute anxiety, PTSD, personal traumas, whether it comes from wartime experiences, early childhood experiences, or adult trauma, the workplace or family stressors? You know that all of these can completely impact every area of your life. Have you tried medical intervention, pharmaceuticals, or even psychologists? Have you tried meditation and yoga, or even some of the wonderful supplements, and they're just not getting you the relief and results you want and need? And today, our science and technology and spiritual insights have come up with an answer that really works. The biologically resonant harmonizer is a sound frequency resonant tuning healing device by SecondEarthFoundation.com. The biologically resonant harmonizer uses 4 sonic transducers, 2 bass shakers, and 2 full-range speakers, vibrating into healing crystals of quartz, amethyst, and citrine with powerful sacred geometry on top of the speakers. You would take this model and place it on your bed or massage table. Choose your track, lie down, and the vibrations of the sound going into your body. It really feels quite amazing. And you end up melting and relaxing deeply into the tones. The biologically resonant harmonizer opens your 7 energy centers. This clears energy blockages and balances your field, allowing life force to flow through the body again. So here are some of the scientific facts about sound healing that's been being studied for decades and was part of ancient knowledge and ancient wisdom. And there's one thing our scientists have found out: sound is universal code that tells the body how to structure itself. It makes up the structure of our bodies, and it can heal. It also helps for you to be in tune with your soul, those higher aspects of yourself. And when that happens, watch how life will realign for you with a greater intuition, free flow of life, happiness, abundance, and prosperity. There is so much scientific data about sound frequencies and how the tones are used to heal the human body, even down to the DNA level and the restructuring of DNA. The biologically resonant harmonizer testimonials are dumbfoundingly amazing. The following clip is from the Be Inspired channel, and wait till you hear this.
You may have come across the notion that with the right frequency, anything becomes achievable, even levitation. Randall Carlson talks about it on the Joe Rogan podcast. Take a look.
Everything vibrates at a frequency, and if you know that frequency, you can control things. This is the model, and this is diagramming all the frequencies of the elements and what their vibrational frequencies are and the numbers that measure those frequencies. And they're all the numbers we get from looking at these ancient traditions that recur over and over and over again.
In addition, there is evidence for a whole new type of medicine in which DNA can be influenced and reprogrammed by words and frequencies without cutting out and replacing single genes. Jadev and his team successfully transformed frog embryos to salamander embryos simply by transmitting the DNA information pattern through frequency alone. The Rife machine is a device that was created a long time ago by a smart guy named Dr. Rife Raymond. He thought vibrations were a big deal and could be used to treat diseases. He believed that everything, including diseases, has its own unique vibration. Dr. Rife made a special microscope to look at really tiny things like viruses. Using this microscope, he said he found the unique vibrations of different diseases. This means he could see the bad guys causing illnesses. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Dr. Rife thought if you could send the right vibrations back to these bad guys, you could destroy them. It's like fighting fire with fire, but in a tiny battle inside your body. He called this idea the mortal oscillatory rate. Big words, but all it means is finding the right vibrations to knock out the bad stuff.
Some died dramatic, explosive deaths. He was so tough he was pushing debris around on the slide. I've never seen that before. He's a really tough organism. Watch him carefully now. Look what happened just now. He suddenly and dramatically disintegrated 926 hertz at the end of the 3rd minute of 926 hertz. That was dramatic. He showed no sign of giving in. Now let's look very closely at the next objective. What happened to this guy? This is the 20x objective, and it looks something like the other guys we've seen on the slide, who just suddenly, almost inexplainably, blew up. Incredible. He suddenly turned into like 4 separate balls and exploded. Almost without warning. See that? His body's been like turned into 4 separate spheres. And here you can see the internal contents of the original organism leaking out. Oh, and here, look, it burst. It just burst open. The internal contents are leaking out through a cell wall.
Dr. Rife believed this could be a game changer for treating diseases, but you know how it goes. Today, the Rife machine is still around, and some people use it. It's a machine that produces specific vibrations claimed to target and eliminate harmful microorganisms. The idea is to bring your body back into balance by dealing with these bad vibes. However, it's crucial to note that mainstream medicine doesn't fully endorse or widely use the Rife machine. Cymatics, as discovered by Dr. Hans Jenny, explores the fascinating world of vibrational patterns. Dr. Jenny's interest in vibrations led to experiments where he visualized sound waves creating intricate patterns on substances like sand or water, a phenomenon termed cymatics. Dr. Jenny discerned that playing sounds generates vibrations, inducing patterns in diverse materials. It's akin to music producing shape as the sand or liquid dances in response to the sound. Different sounds result in distinct patterns, illustrating how vibrations influence the material world. His experiments emphasize that everything, even the unseen, vibrates, generating discernible patterns. Dr. Jenny proposed that understanding these patterns could unveil insights into the functioning of various systems. How does this relate to our bodies? Well, our bodies are reservoirs of vibrations. Every cell vibrates uniquely. Dr. Jenny's work sparks curiosity. Can we harness vibrations to comprehend and possibly benefit our bodies? Consider this. If sound can mold patterns in sand, can they influence our bodies too? Some advocate that exposing the body to specific vibrations or frequencies might confer health benefits, nudging ourselves in a positive direction. This leads us to Dr. Masaru Emoto. Now it gets interesting. Dr. Masaru Emoto's experiments on the effects of thoughts and words on water crystals revealed that positive influences like music and words of love create beautiful, well-defined crystals, while negative influences result in distorted and chaotic plastic formations. So, if the human body is over 60% water, how does the music we listen to affect us? Beyond the strange lyrics in many songs, there's an issue with the frequency they're tuned in. Watch this closely.
Where we now play our music is in A440. Where did that come from? It used to be 417. A440 came in with the Roman Catholic Church. They suppressed the frequencies. They lost somehow the 152 of the best Gregorian chants, including the hymn to St. John the Baptist, which we've now recovered. That particular hymn was what triggered Dr. Palaio's investigation, looking for those frequencies of vibration by which the music was played. It was known as the most uplifting hymn of all the ages, the most spiritually uplifting hymn to St. John the Baptist. It was played to 6 tones. These are those 6 tones. These are those 6 frequencies. And so the A440 is what now is the standard tuning. That if you do the analysis, you know how I just showed you that the English language is 180 degrees flipped. I mean, you couldn't get farther away before coming back in a perfect circle, back to closer to the original, right? 180 degrees, that's as far as it can get. They did the same thing with the music. If you go A439, you're closer to one of the creator's tones. If you go A441, you're closer to one of the creator's original tones. That's how precisely it has been manipulated. To do what? To shut down the 95% of your brain, particularly the right brain that operates the heart mind for the divine human community. Here is another metaphor so that you begin to understand what we're talking about. When you go driving your car and your channel on the radio is tuned to a station and you're grooving to the music, you love that music. As you get farther and farther away from the broadcasting tower, that music gets static. You start to lose the signal from the clear channel, broadcast, and it gets staticky. When it gets staticky, you get a little annoyed. But you want to listen to it. You really have a heart for that music, so you continue to listen to it for another 10, 15 miles, and suddenly it becomes so annoying that you just get disgusted. You go, and you shut it off. And if you continue to listen to it, you get sick. That's what we're talking about here. Except you don't even know that you've been listening to the static your whole life. You don't even know what the true resonant frequency is because it has been kept. So in other words, the master composer, master conductor of the Universal Orchestra is singing love songs in 5/8, uplifting everything simultaneously. And we're the only species out of tune and accepting static.
In 1939, the standard tuning pitch was changed from 432 Hz to 440 Hz. Even though prominent musicians protested and Professor Dussault from the Paris Conservatory wrote a referendum signed by 23,000 French musicians urging the preservation of A equaling 432 Hz, 444 Hz was still set as the standard for all concerts and musicians despite their protests. A strange thing happened in 1950 when the American government mandated that all musical equipment and broadcasts on TV and radio be at 440 Hz. Leonard G. Horowitz has written an extensive thesis on this subject and how the Rockefeller Foundation started the war on consciousness by imposing of A equaling 440 Hz standard tuning. Here's a snippet on some of the important texts from the document that I have embedded below. A at 440 Hz frequency music conflicts with chakras from the heart to the base of the spine. Alternatively, chakras above the heart are stimulated. Theoretically, the vibration stimulates ego and left brain function, suppressing the heart, mind, intuition, and creative inspiration. Many musicians intuitively feel better tuning up or down, a bit sharp or flat, from A at 440 Hz standard tuning. More natural alternatives, especially 444 Hz or C at 528 Hz and A 432 Hz, and have been growing in popularity. Brian T. Collins, who launched a website dedicated to posting articles supportive of this growing musical metaphysical movement for recovering optimal spirituality through music therapy. Collins wrote, "The current tuning of music based on A 440 Hz does not harmonize on any level that corresponds to cosmic movement, rhythm, or natural vibration. Mozart and Verdi both based their music on natural vibration, and A, 432 Hz, was nicknamed the Verdi tuning. Most Western music, including popular New Age music, is still tuned at unnatural 440 Hz. The difference between A at 440 Hz and A 432 Hz is only 8 vibrations per second, but it is a perceptible difference in the human consciousness experience. Many musicians, mathematicians, physicians, physicists, and even geneticists are now celebrating A at 444 Hz or C at 528 Hz as an apparent carrier wave of love, broadcasting universally from the heart of the electromagnetic electric matrix. These revelations represent an opportunity to rediscover our spiritual roots in music in accordance with an accelerating spiritual renaissance.
The biologically resonant harmonizer, a sound frequency healing device by Second Earth. A spiritual renaissance? Indeed. And as talked about on Coast to Coast AM so many years ago, described our times as the time of the quickening, the evolution of everything we have ever known, and especially the evolution of our body-mind-spirit complex. The reason why I created the biologically resonant harmonizer was way back in 1982. I was 25 years old, and I had a unique spiritual experience. I call it a merging of the light experience, and others might say it's a Kundalini awakening. The effects were like an NDE, but I didn't float out of my body or anything like that. I didn't see anything. I didn't see angels. I didn't go anywhere, sort of. But I had the same type of unity, connectedness, love experience that people who have had near-death experiences has reported. I felt I was connected to the entire universe, that I was one with it. And I also developed some of the same abilities of those people over time that report from having NDEs. During that summer, Spirit was teaching me about resonance, frequency, and vibration. Like Tesla had explained, it's the key to the universe. And one day, I hear a voice in my head, almost like you do when you're talking to yourself and you tell yourself things that you did not know. But I heard in my head, and this must have been telepathic, "Mark." And I look up and I scream, "What? What do you want now?" Because Spirit had been communicating me and talking to me and teaching me all summer. They said to me, all the organs of your body vibrate at a specific harmonic resonant tone. If the tone of the organ goes into a discordant energetic pattern, the organ will go into dis-ease. Now, I had never heard the word disease described as dis-ease before. If you will play the harmonic tone of the organ back to the organ, you will heal the organ. Now, please remember, this is in 1982. There was no internet. There was no knowledge in the general public about this topic. And I'm sitting there dumbfounded and confused. I had just had, maybe a month and a half earlier, this major experience. Floating in that experience for months, I had no car, no job, and I look up in the air and I scream, "What the F are you talking about, the harmonic tone of an organ? I don't know how to measure the harmonic tone of an organ. What am I supposed to do? Go to a university professor or something?" Well, needless to say, I didn't move on this at that time, and not for decades. What I did not know at the time was I did not need to measure anything. This information was either known, and had been developed, and much of it has been developed and studied and used over the years. I had thought of different ways I could make this device over the years, but it was not till 2019 that I actually made the prototype of the device that we have today. I first tested it on myself, laying down on the device, and I had a very unique experience. All of a sudden, I found myself in this velvety black void, just floating peacefully, and I was feeling and hearing the chants and tones that I was playing on a harmonizer, but these were coming from 360 degrees all around me, penetrating my soul. That's what it felt like. And then the next week, I used a different set of soundtracks, and something really neat happened. Well, I had gotten very sick from undiagnosed Lyme's disease many years earlier, and I could only remember in a 14-year period only 3 dreams. 3 dreams in 14 years. Well, in that week, I had 3 very real, very lucid dreams, and they were quite fascinating. I think my device was healing something inside of me. Also, my business of a brilliant product idea really wasn't making money. And as I used the device to enhance my manifesting techniques and manifesting power, I saw things start to come together in my life, and I started making money. Not only did I start making money, but within 6 months of using the device, the business exploded. I had made decisions that I may not have made were I not harmonizing my body, mind, spirit, and nourishing my connection to greater aspects of myself. Because when you do that, information comes through and you just pick the right thing rather than sometimes the wrong thing. Then, in the next 6 months, I made more money with my invention that I created called AccuStrike Golf Training Mat than I had throughout my entire lifetime. And that led me to being able to move the biologically resonant harmonizer forward. I took it to 3 trade shows and 2 spiritual centers and recorded the people's experiences just as they were getting off the biologically resonant harmonizer sound pad. And the testimonials now on the website were utterly pure, astoundingly amazing. This was healing people on a spiritual level. They were having all kinds of experiences and clearing up all kinds of issues that translated to very positive changes in their lives. And as I watched the string of videos I put together, my mouth dropped open as to what had been put into my hands, and of course the responsibility that I felt. And I felt this incredible obligation to bring this to the world. But it's hard to stop what's bringing you in your money. But finally, I stopped advertising AccuStrike Golf training mats and just let what sales come in as they did, and began full-time to get this ready for everyone. So I want to highly encourage you to watch these testimonials. Actually, they're really incredible testimonials, and you will see for yourself exactly what this device is doing for people on so many levels. So I'd like to end this video with a song I wrote, which is part of a group of spiritual songs over the many years that I wrote, and some of which really led the way for me in my spiritual development. They're on our website, and if you choose to listen, they can be very moving and very deep, and also help to reconnect you and remember. So this is a song about bringing light into your life, and I'll see you on our next video.
Let there be light. happens in your own time. Let there be peace. Filled with light and love and harmony. Rainbow colors in your mind. The feeling you're divine. It happens in your own time. And all the time that we walk this road we travel leads us to the place we're going. In your heart you will feel everything there is real. Leads us to the place we're going. Let there be love, shining bright from far above, deep inside of you. Rainbow colors fill your mind. The feeling you're divine. It happens in your own